Hi, friends. Welcome back. I'm Emily,
And I'm Whitney.
and you're listening to Cousins Talk Crime. Now, friends, if you're listening to this or watching this, it means you are a friend of the podcast and you're over on Patreon. So we cannot thank you enough for your support. This will be the first of very many bonus episodes that we are just super jazzed about releasing. Whitney is bringing us a case local that is the talk of the town, but I don't know if anybody really knows what happened.
Yes. This actually took place on okay, let me start over. This case that I am bringing for the bonus episode took place in Bloomfield, Indiana on January 26, 1980.
1980. Oh, it's a
So a
while
very
back.
long time ago. This house in Bloomfield, it's known as the Old Blue Hill House. So if you're a Bloomfield, Indiana listener or around the area, um, I wonder if you know of this house or if you visited this house around Halloween, because we've heard from different people that people like go to this house, turn off their car, and they can see like a ghost of a young girl running down the hill.
Oh my gosh, yeah. We had a live stream on Facebook and people
People
were
are
telling us
mentioning,
about
yeah.
this. And some people said they went ghost hunting out here.
Mm-hmm.
Quote unquote ghost hunting. You know how kids are.
But no one in the comments really knew the true story behind the old Blue Hill house. So that's what I'm going to bring you today is what actually happened there.
I'm excited to hear this one.
Yeah. I mean, this happened in 1980, so a very long time ago.
Don't tell our parents that. They're going to be upset if you say 1980 is a very long time
It
ago.
seems like a long time
I mean, it's
ago.
longer than our lifetimes,
Yeah.
so it's a long time for us.
Okay, so I am reading from the Greene County paper, and it says that the investigation into the girl's murder continues. There was a brutal weekend murder of a 14-year-old Bloomfield girl. Her name was Kathy Sandford. Um, she was found Saturday morning in the hallway of her home. This was near the Bloomfield Town Square. Her brother, Jeff, was a junior at Bloomfield High School. He was the one that discovered her body. Um, They say the girl died of multiple stab wounds, probably sometime Friday night. Police said there was no sexual assault, um, but the Indiana State Police were picking it up and they were investigating this as well. Interviews were being conducted this morning to provide insight into the girl's background. Police are also trying to determine the activities immediately prior to her death. Um,
And you said she was 14?
Yep, she was 14 years old.
Okay.
So this is another newspaper article and it's from her mom. Her mom actually at the time suffered with a lot of chronic like respiratory issues and her mom was in the hospital. That's why her mom wasn't home. And I read a newspaper article where her dad had like left the family home 2 years earlier, and I don't think he had a
Anything.
lot to do with his family. So it was the mom. She had a son that was a junior, and then she had the 14-year-old Kathy who was found murdered in the home. Um, the mom was just going on to talk about Kathy. She said that she loved animals. She wanted to be a vet when she grew up. She would tell her mom that she was going to have 6 cats, dogs, ducks, geese.
Oh my gosh.
She would say she wanted to be a vet, and maybe even work in the circus because she loved animals.
Oh.
Unfortunately, Kathy would get none of those opportunities at all because at 14 years old, she was murdered. Like I said, she was found killed and left in her home. Her mom was actually a secretary employed at Indiana University. Um, and here's where I'm getting at. Her mom was a patient in Bloomington Hospital at the time of her daughter's death. The girl's body was found January 26th by her brother Jeff, who, while his mother was in the hospital, had been staying the night with friends. So, I mean, it was, he was a junior. His mom was sick in the hospital. And Kathy had actually had strep throat that week and had stayed at her grandma's house, I think 2 nights in a row. And for some reason, came home that Thursday. And I think she was supposed to go back to school that Friday after having strep. But it took the mom, it said, 2 weeks after the loss of her daughter to speak publicly about the tragedy for the first time. She said it took me 3 days before I could do it, and she sobbed. They told me that I had taken, that they had made Kathy presentable, that she had been hurt really badly, and the mom said she didn't want to see her like that. She wanted to remember her daughter as, the happy little girl that she was. She was blonde, blue-eyed, and her mother said that she had a love for church and pizza and going to school and animals.
Church, pizza, school, and animals. It's a great.
Yeah. She played in her school band. It sounds like, she was just a regular 14-year-old girl. She had been ill with strep throat, like I said, and absent from class and staying with her grandmother in Salisbury because of the school rule, which requires class attendance on the day of a ball game. Kathy had left Thursday night so that she could be prepared for school that Friday morning. Kathy, it says, was unafraid to stay by herself. Her mom said it was Kathy's decision to remain alone in the house overnight. She was taught to never let anyone in, no stranger. And that's where her mom began sobbing that Kathy was also trusting. The mom was like, I don't know whoever it was, why our house? And Kathy her mom during this interview, was having a hard time with her emotions. Our little town of Bloomfield was thought to be so safe and secure, she continued sadly. But I think during this time, everyone thought it was a safe place. She was letting her 14-year-old, stay the night at home by herself.
To me, this has to be someone that preyed on her because a bad person doesn't just get lucky that she was a little girl home alone, her mom was in the hospital, and her brother was staying with friends.
Yeah.
This is someone that knew she was alone. They didn't just get lucky that she was alone.
Right. So, I'm going to now move forward. Time went by, with nothing going on. And then Robert Patterson, from Bloomfield was arrested, at the Catherine Hamilton Mental Health Center of Terre Haute, where he had admitted himself as a patient 2 weeks ago. He is charged with the January 23rd stabbing death of 14-year-old Kathy Sandford. Let me repeat that. With the death of 14-year-old Kathy Sandford. Like I said earlier, her body was found by her older brother, and she had been beaten, strangled, and stabbed. They have not yet established a motive for the murder, nor has a murder weapon been found. Holt said the police believe the murder took place in the morning previous, that the girl was killed between 9 p.m. Thursday and of January 24th and 8 a.m. Friday, January 25th. She had been alone at her family house in Bloomfield, Indiana, while her mom was in the hospital for respiratory issues. Like I said, no motive was determined, but this guy was arrested, and the police wanted the people of Bloomfield to feel relieved. They quoted that they had got the right person. Patterson at this time hadn't been brought to trial. He was just arrested. It said, "We don't know if she let him in," adding that there's no evidence to refute the possibility that the door of the house was locked or unlocked, and that Patterson has denied the charges against him. So they arrested him. He was saying, he didn't do it. Okay, here it is. Okay, so Robert Patterson, 33 of Bloomfield, has been charged with the stabbing and strangulation murder of the young girl. He has denied the charges, although Patterson gave police a lengthy, and it says in quotes, third-person statement that included details that police said that only the killer would have known. The statement was not a confession, just a third party, supposedly, is where he was getting his information. Patterson told police he could describe the murder as he believed it occurred. His statement said that the killer walked into the house where Kathy was staying, picked up a kitchen knife, and followed her into the bathroom where she had fled and unsuccessfully tried to lock the door. He then stabbed and strangled her. And then he claimed that the killer cleaned up the blood with a vacuum cleaner. And then it goes on to say when his arraignment and stuff would be. And then there was another article, and the headline is Bloomfield Killer Uses Vacuum to Clean Up Blood.
What a mess.
And it was the same thing, stating that he was basically describing the murder in detail.
And he was just saying,
yeah,
this is how I think it would happen.
Yeah.
But who would say that the killer would vacuum up the blood?
Right.
You don't get, what am I trying to say? You don't get lucky that that was what happened. Oh my God.
So he was convicted. He had given details, that only the culprit, they said, would have known, even though he denied to ever been in the home, and claimed that he knew the details because he had psychic powers.
Oh. He was a psychic. Well, he did also check himself into a mental hospital as well, right?
That's where he was arrested. And it said Patterson underwent a series of psychiatric examinations and was found mentally what's it called?
Competent?
Yep. And was found mentally competent and left to stand trial. And the case was moved from the Greene County to Knox County because his attorney said he wouldn't receive a fair trial in Greene County because of all the publicity that it was getting. Okay, and he was sentenced to 40 years in prison on November of 1981. So okay. 40 years.
40 years.
Yep.
And 1981 was over 40 years ago. So, okay.
Yeah. So then I pulled up some. Okay. This was an article from March 26, 2009.
Okay.
Sorry, my nose.
Right.
It says updated breaking news: convicted murderer back in jail for failing to register as a violent offender. And it's him. Robert Patterson was arrested for the brutal murder in Bloomfield over 29 years ago. And he was arrested again late Wednesday evening. He was held on Wednesday without bond, blah, blah, blah. He went to court and at this time, he was 62 years old. He was 35 when he was found guilty on November 12th, 1981 for murdering the 14-year-old girl. Like I said, he was sentenced for 40 years in prison. All right. Patterson was sentenced to 40 years in prison, which was the standard sentence at that time for a crime of murder.
Mm-hmm.
So, as a violent offender, Patterson was required to register the location of his current residence. To me, when I was reading through these, I mean, this guy was not a liked man and I'm not saying, I think they were looking for ways to put him back
Yeah.
in jail. You know what I mean? I think
Well, yeah.
they did a lot of checks with where he was registered to live. I guess they went there and they said no one was living there, and that's when they went and arrested him for failure to register as a violent offender. It was a Class D felony. He also went to jail a couple of times for DUIs, it said. And then in February 2011, Bobby Patterson was found dead of natural causes. There were no signs of foul play. He was under the doctor's care for colon cancer and he had heart problems.
And he died in prison?
I'm looking. It says he was scheduled to appear in Greene Superior Court at 10 a.m. on Tuesday on a hearing of a pending case, but he didn't show up. They had been called to his residence around 1 p.m. The coroner confirmed that he was dead. And they notified his wife, it said.
So he's married.
Yeah. It says many years have passed since Patterson was arrested on Valentine's Day in 1980 for the murder of the 14-year-old girl in her home in Bloomfield.
Is this him?
Yes.
That was him.
Yep.
What a creep. And he was how old when he would have killed her?
35.
35 when he killed her.
Mm-hmm.
And did he maintain his innocence the whole time, or did he ever explain why he did it?
I did not get that. Yeah, so that is, if you live in Bloomfield, that is the story of the old Blue Hill house. Basically, a 14-year-old girl was just staying the night at her house alone because, I mean, her poor mom was in the hospital. Her brother was a junior staying with friends, and I don't think they ever found a motive of why he just went in there and killed and stabbed her, which is bizarre to me. Why this 35-year-old man just randomly went inside a home. She was stabbed, strangled, and then cleaned up the blood with a vacuum cleaner.
I wonder if the house is still standing.
Yeah.
We may have to do a ghost hunt this year.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, from everything I read, there was like no motive.
I wonder if the Blue Hill house is the same like Blue Barn like hill in Bloomfield, like as you're going towards Bloomington on Bloomfield Road.
Yeah.
Is that if you're from Bloomfield, please tell me if that is the same hill. And if you know where the house is located, let me know. Send me a ping. If it's still up me and Whitney may just have to visit it this year.
Mm-hmm.
And
That'd be a good one to visit around Halloween time.
yes, we're gonna be for all the funness at Halloween.
Yes, we are already talking about how excited we are for fall. No, but this, I mean, to me, this is just kind of crazy because, I mean, he was in a mental institution when they arrested him and he was giving the details. But like I said, he said he had psychic powers to the crime. I don't know if he had ever at 35 had like any crime before this to just randomly go in and stab. And it said it was a butter knife
Oh my gosh.
and strangle.
That's got to be terrible,
And
trying
then
to stab someone with a butter knife.
the brother finds her body in the hallway.
I can't imagine what that's like.
I don't know. It's just, yeah, from what I read, he remained innocent. And I mean, when he got out, I mean, he had some DUIs, and they arrested him for not
Registering.
registering as a violent offender, but I don't know if he ever did anything else. Like, to me, that is so bizarre. To be
Sometimes,
35 years old and just randomly kill somebody.
sometimes people don't go crazy. Like, I watch a guy on TikTok that was just one day a normal guy, and then the next day he had like schizophrenia. Sometimes it literally just it takes a traumatic experience in your life, and it just
I don't know if you can,
pulls up.
they probably can't see it, but look, Bloomfield killer uses vacuum to clean up blood. That was the headline.
I
So
can't
they took
imagine
a
what that state
vacuum
looked
and
like.
was just vacuuming up.
What? That's a mentally ill person thinking that a vacuum's gonna suck up a bunch of blood. That's
Yeah.
weird to me. That is very weird. But he has passed away.
Yes, he has. I just, I don't know. That's a crazy case because, yeah, that is the old Blue Hill house, her house, and it was up on a hill, and it said it's close to a cemetery, and that's where this all happened.
Wow.
And it's weird, she was out with her grandma before that. She just came home so she could go to school the next day because I think she wanted to attend a ball game.
Yeah.
She had strep throat. Her mom was in the hospital. Her older brother was staying the night with friends, and she wasn't scared to stay the night alone. I mean, the mom's guilt, can you imagine being in the hospital?
Yeah. Oh, the guilt would be, and the brother probably experienced guilt too. If I wouldn't have stayed the night with my friends that night, my sister would still be alive. Or, I know that those thoughts are going through their head. They can't blame themselves, but I know that that's got to be going. I know that's got to be a thought that they have experienced.
Yeah, and
so
I
many
know
what
the
ifs.
police made it a point not to give out too much to the public about the crime, and that's why when they heard his psychic story, they said they knew. I mean, that only the killer would have known the details that he laid out for them.
Yeah. And let this be a PS let this be a PSA. If you are a psychic, don't tell a story about a murder because people are going to think you did it then. Like if you
Right.
didn't actually commit this, let this be a PSA. Don't. I know you think you might be doing good by telling the
Yeah.
police how it happened, but they're just going to think you did it
Yeah.
because we don't believe in psychic abilities. So,
No, I don't know. That's a crazy story.
yeah.
And it said a 14-year-old girl's life was taken for no reason.
No
No
reason.
motive. I don't think they ever found a motive for it. So that is the end of our first bonus episode of the old Blue Hill House in Bloomfield, Indiana.
I'm excited about doing these
I would like to
bonus
see
episodes.
a picture of the house on the hill.
Yeah. I'll see if someone can tell me where it is. I'll ask Brooke if she knows, like if she can send me a ping of where it is.
Yeah.
I'll try to find it. But yeah, I want to.
And I do have a picture of her too. you can put up.
Of the little girl.
Mm-hmm.
Sweet. Yes, send that to me. But yeah, these bonus episodes, I think it would be cool to do a bonus episode on like that Karen Reed thing that you were talking
Oh,
about,
yes,
things
yes.
that are currently in the news.
Yes.
I think that would be a good thing to do these bonus episodes on.
Yeah, this was just kind of a little ghost story in Bloomfield, Indiana, so I
Yeah.
wanted to look into it.
Yeah, and you did. That's awesome.
Mm-hmm.
That's awesome. Well, once again, if you listen to this, that means you're on Patreon, and we cannot thank you enough for joining us over here. Your support
Yeah.
means everything to us. Also, don't forget. Also, actually, let me get on Patreon real quick to make sure I tell the correct information. We're going to be getting ahead starting next week, but early access. If they're early access, okay. Also, if you are part of our $10 a month tier or our $25 a month tier, you will be getting early access to all episodes. So we typically upload on Tuesdays. And so my goal is to release early access episodes on Fridays. So that'll be a good four or 5 days before everyone else has access to the episode. We're not going to be quite starting that right this second because we have to get ahead. We got to get a week ahead. But it will be, I will let you all know whenever we start having the episodes out early. So thank you for joining us
Yes,
on this
thank you.
bonus episode, and we'll catch you next Tuesday.
Bye.
Bye.